All right, welcome back. Now, with less than 40 days to go, the Federal Executive Council meeting, presided over by Vice President Yemi Osinbajo on Wednesday, approved a number of contracts running into billions of naira. Also, despite warning on Tuesday by two senior advocates of Nigeria that asked the Attorney General of the Federation, Abubakar Malami, to obey a court order in respect of a dispute on the multi-million naira e-customs modernization project. The council also granted approval for the implementation of the Nigeria Customs Service modernization project to a concessionaire. Now, many are bothered as to whether now is not the time to be closing the book and beginning some house cleaning. Now, these sums of money are indeed humongous, but it's not for me to say. I have with me in the studio, Barrister Nwokeji. Welcome to the studio. Now, happy holiday to start with, and you look it.
Thank you so much. I just unwind from suits and ties.
Exactly. What we also do have joining us online is Jimmy Abia, who would like to know when we establish contact with him. Now, 1.5 trillion naira road projects across 11 states. We have the states giving, some of them are Edo, Delta, Kano, Kaduna, Borno, Adamawa. This is what the Federal Executive Council has approved. It's less than 40 days.
40 days to go. I had when the Minister for Works and Housing, the Fashala was making that announcement rather. I was watching with keen suspicion.
Keen suspicion?
Yes, keen suspicion. Why such projects will be, unleashed at this tail end of the administration. And
why do you think it is?
How would they supervise it? What's the duration of time? Is he so certain that he's going to continue as Minister for Works? Do you understand my point now? Are you saying that there will not be overhaul of all these ministries and the new?
Well, since it's the same, since the party is the same, he might have the belief.
If the party is the same, but the individuals are no longer the same, the new person coming in might come in with a new set of people, a new set of pattern, a new set of model that you will adopt in dealing with all these things. And that's why we have a lot of white elephant projects here and there. I still remember when I went to Ogun State to visit somebody around that Akute area. I saw the bridge, flyover, whatever that's the former governor, Ibikula Amosu, got almost a level of completion. The new governor is almost completing his entry second tenure. He has not touched it.
So there's no continuity.
Yeah, they are still from the same party. The contractors are not the same. The government might not want to know the contractors. Let me be very, very fair and very, very honest. Most of the people that might supervise that project in the Nigerian corrupt system are not the ones that actually benefited from the contract. The juicy part, contract that said that was inflated up to like 570%. That inflation, people shared it. I was analyzing it somewhere with my friend. I said, the people that are involved, that made them to pay their budget up to 570%, money will go to so many segments of people, including the traditional rulers, the heads of the parastatal, the House of Rest member representing the area, the senator in that area, the governor, the contractor, the person that actually connected that contract, the consultants. I said, before you remove that money, the real money for that project may not be up to like 20%.
No.
But then that's the problem. Now, when you abandon such a project and you want a new government to take it over, when they have paid all the money they paid, the other people that actually paid it have actually left with the money. And I left the carcass. And I am telling you, and they may review the project and discover that, look, the money that was mobilized, I remember somebody said the project for 400 million was to be mobilized with about 800 million. Then later 400 million will be paid. The first mobilization was shared. And when they now come to inspect the project, to pretend over the project, to know the extent of work before the next batch of the 400 million will be released, they discovered there was nothing. And the person that actually attracted the project said the 400 million was what's supposed to be paid to him. That was the agreement he had for him to attract that project. And he took that money ahead of time. Now, who knows whether that will be what will happen?
What will happen in this case as well?
So why are you awarding contracts at the
tail end of
your administration?
Now let's not forget also. Record has it that in January this year, the council, that's FEC, approved a memo for the NNPC to invest 1.9 trillion naira
in the roads,
on our roads as well, and that amount was then for 44 roads that had been awarded, and the balance of those roads that had to go through procurement between then and now. All right, and the same minister made this announcement known. The 1.9, is it different? 1.9 trillion, is it different from what we have now? This 1.5 trillion. Let's not also forget about sometime in the month, in this month, Lagos State government decided to fix some parts of Third Mainland Bridge. They had started. They fixed a part of it, and then 4 days after, federal government said no, they are taking over the repair work of Third Mainland Bridge, and they mentioned billions to go into that. Yes. We seem to be having billions and trillions coming out, and purportedly
they're so bastardized.
Purportedly,
they don't have respect for this money.
Purportedly to fix roads, and we still have bad roads, and these are major roads, not even inner streets. One would think that at this time in the administration, and these things are coming up, could it be that they just want to siphon
the
system?
They want money maybe spent during the election. Allegedly. Me, I'm thinking that the purpose of all this is just to recoup some humongous money they deployed during the election. Because we knew the ruling party faced a very big challenge during this election. Almost everything about the way they went about the whole campaigns. You can see they were like buying people, buying the press, buying affirmation, buying endorsement, buying what they call everything. Trying to they struggled. They struggled so much to even. I was in Abuja during the campaign, that election. I didn't know there was any other party running for that office in Abuja, office of the presidency in Abuja, because of the way the billboards, even inside the airport, everything was like everywhere was the APC and the rest of them. All the billboards, all the roads. You take how much it cost them. But funny enough, they still lost Abuja. I was so surprised. You hardly see the poster of any other party in Abuja. For their own. Everywhere. I was thinking of the cost of getting all these things done. I know the cost of. I've actually been close to a printer before. What it takes to get certain things, print full colors, printed. Then check out people that actually they were reaching out and all that. So they were spent humongous amount of money. And I believe all these contracts that are awarded at this time minutes
for them to recoup,
because it's not like serving the purpose of making life better for the people. Because we have rightly stated now, all these roads that we have been you are making all this money to fix. Have we gotten roads that can stand at par with other roads in other civilized societies, that we can drive and see facilities along the roads? Most of our highways, what do we have there? Do we have the street lights? Do we have cameras on them? Do we have certain facilities that will even give you a kind of a relief that you're on the highway? We don't have them. But these are the places that are putting all these billions every day.
All right, we have joining us now Jimmy Abia. Good morning to you.
Yeah, good morning. Good morning. My pleasure.
Yes, it's
to be with
morning
you.
Here. Morning here. Nigeria.
Yeah, I can see my friend there.
My classmate.
My friend Joe.
Jimmy Ade, it's a pleasure after many years.
Yeah.
All right, you guys can continue.
Yeah,
You can continue that
Yeah.
later. Now, you obviously you're not here in Nigeria, but you are abreast of what is going on. We're talking about approval.
I'm in Nigeria, actually.
Oh, great. Okay, great. Now,
Yes,
have
I'm in
you?
Nigeria. Yeah.
When was the last time you drove along the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway? If you have in recent time, we know that that road has been. We've had talks about construction to be, construction to be carried out. We've had talks of construction going on,
Yes.
but the road, the large portion of it is still in what I will call dilapidated state. But yet, we have trillions and billions of naira being earmarked for more road construction. Help me make sense of this.
Yes, this is the issue. We have a system where government is not accountable to the people. Because what you would expect in all societies is that there should have been a breakdown of how much has been spent on that Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. But what we see is a situation where you raise these issues and people will tell you, oh, but after all, they are constructing the road, so it doesn't matter how much they spent on the road, doesn't matter. The most important thing is that they are constructing the road. Now, this is a road that they've told us that they are going to spend the bonds, they got, the loans they got, they are going to spend it on that road. They told us that their Abacha route will be spent on the road. Indeed, every time, there's a budgeting process, there's an amount, laid out, that for that particular road. And there is no tabulation, by government to come out with the full and the entire figures. Okay, this is the amount that has been spent on this road. This is the particular amount all through. I'm not saying, piecemeal, I'm not saying piecemeal, but there's no full disclosure in terms of how much has been spent on this road. So this is the problem we face in Nigeria, a system that is not accountable to the generality of the citizens of Nigeria.
Now, we have lawmakers, we have the judiciary, we have the House of Assembly. Do you think they're not doing enough to curtail government's excesses?
Of course, this is not a matter of what I think now. It is pretty obvious to any watcher of the process in Nigeria, of the political process in Nigeria, that most members of the House of Assembly, and even in the National Assembly of recent, have always worked for whatever the executive wants. You had a time when the Senate President, the current Senate President, said that it doesn't matter if they are rubber stamp. It doesn't that whatever the president brings, they will approve it because it is the same party. So you have a semblance that of a system where there are no checks and balances, and the people who are meant to check the executive do not hold the executive accountable. Indeed, it is even worse at the state levels, because you come to the state level, the members of the House of Assembly are like the governor's boys. So it is just governors say it and we'll carry it out. Don't just say just say jump and tell us how high. You understand? And they'll jump. So that's the system we have had in Nigeria of recent, and it's appalling actually.
All right. So the judiciary that is supposed to question a few things are not doing so. The National Assembly, they have said that they will approve, whatever. And today, we've had questions. We've had questions about the position of the courts. Now, if CSOs should sue this government for this expenses, how the country is being governed, do you think they will make headway in any court? Before you answer that, I'll take this headline from one of the dailies. This is from the Nation newspaper. Now, this is coming at a time when cases are in court, political cases are in court. people are clamoring for justice. Now we hear that the government is looking at reviewing judges' salary. When I saw this headline, my personal view is like, why now? When judicial cases are in court? Why now? When a lot of other cases, people are, asking questions, are seeking justice. You want to review salaries of judges. Are you trying to buy them to your side? What are you trying to do, really? That's on my mind. But hey, what do you make of it?
Okay. It's like the question is directed to me. Because
Yes, it's to you. It's to you. That's why I'm turning to you now.
I see one of the major, hiccups encumbering the smooth running of our judiciary is the interference by the executive, either by way of welfare packages. But I was in court yesterday, and one of the judges at the Federal High Court, Justice Oguntoibo, was doing her farewell. She had actually sat at 10, she was just leaving. So we took time to discuss, the judges and everything about the costs and all that. And then some lawyers began to air their views with respect to what is going on in the judiciary. And they began to somebody even said that some of the trainings that most of our judges go abroad, that most of these trainings are not even what they're supposed to, apply for, because of the relevance of these trainings to their profession. But government usually package it for them, and then give them allowances and everything for them to go. They go to trainings in Dubai, they go to trainings in UK, in US, and all these places. Then they said, what's the sense of this training? Just like a way of trying to give them a welfare package. Then you look at also the welfare of the judges. Who are those bankrolling them? That's why we are looking for independence of the judiciary to a very large extent, so that the funds, everything that has to do with promotion, that has to do with welfare, that has to do with purchase of cars, vehicles, and everything for the judges should be done from internal funds, consolidated funds from the judiciary, and not through executive. The lot what I have just mentioned now. Okay, look at the level we are now, tension all over the whole places because of the elections that just got concluded, and some manipulations, some people that are showing their grievances, that have approached even the courts and the tribunals. These judges are part of the tribunals. They have selected some of the judges now that will be going for
But not to, in as much as we are dealing with this, I don't want to mislead people. This is actually from Lagos State, yeah.
Okay, even in Lagos State now, some people, the Jandor has taken, okay, that was
of course, yes,
has taken the Lagos State governor to court, and some of them have cases that has to do with House of Assembly, cases, and some other things that are within Lagos jurisdiction. Now, just like what happened during the election, almost 2 weeks to the election, they increased the salary of the civil servants. All these eye services, we don't need them. If you intend to do something, let it be something that will be intrinsic, something that will be innate. Welfare of people should be something that will be reviewed from time to time, because things are changing. Economy is getting to the level that certain things must be reviewed. But then, doing it at this moment that we have so many cases pending in different courts is very, very highly suspicious. And then our prayer is not a way of trying to get at the judges or trying to lobby the judges in that realm, so as to pass some judgment that might be favorable to some interests. And again, the issue you're sorry whether CSO can go to court. There's a problem we have in our constitution, chapter 2. They call it non-justiciable issues. When you take a government to court, that clause, that non-justiciable issues, that clause has always been a clock in the way of progress in any matter in court. That's why I cannot take government to court and ask them, why have you not consulted this road? Why did you abandon this road? Why do you, like what my learned friend said, why haven't you accounted to us how many billions you voted for this road? They will tell you, you have no right to do that. That's within non-justiciable issue that no courts will interfere with that. But how government runs their affairs. There are certain aspects of National Assembly are suited to court. They will say that courts cannot dabble into.
How do we now fix these things?
So that non-justiciable aspect of the Constitution, Chapter 2, is making it difficult. Just most people are not actually having interest in that clause. Just like the way you have in this issue of immunity clause. That's even worse than immunity clause. A clause that says that you cannot question the action of the government. You cannot dictate to government how they work. I know cases who have taken to court, they rely on that. I think what the constitution says, that you cannot question it. The government it has every right to decide what to do and what not to do. This government might decide to focus every job in the north and abandon the whole south. And you can't question it and ask court, why are they doing it? They'll tell you that you're not the one that direct them on what to do. This present government might decide to focus on Lagos alone and abandon the whole Nigeria in its entirety.
And nobody will be able
focus
to
on
question
Anambra alone. And you cannot question it because of that non-justiciability action, clause in the constitution. So that's what have actually made it difficult for CSOs to question the actions of the government. And I believe that constitution, so many lawyers will begin to ask questions on why that clause will be in the constitution. It makes it difficult. Say you are distracting the government will no longer be coordinated. The government will begin to dictate to the government what to do.
But the clause had always been in the constitution. It had always been there, right?
It is there. It's only when you have a shift, a certain kind of an escape that you can bring certain things in. You can't just challenge the government now on that road, on that Ibadan Express road, how they are doing it. You can't go to court and ask them, why are you doing this road? They'll cite that clause. So but our judiciary, I have to implore our judiciary to be very, very firm and upright at this moment. Every hope in Nigeria is kind of vested on the judiciary. If they miss it, I'm telling you, this country will become balkanized. People are having their last hope to know what judiciary will say. And I believe they will redeem their image and also redeem the image of this country by being upright. I read what former Justice of Justice of Supreme Court, Justice Ogebe, said. He said in their own time, the former CJN, he basically mentioned the issue of this Lawan and all the rest of them. He said judges should kind of play down on the issue of all this issue of technicalities and more, and go into substantive issues. That when he was a Justice of Supreme Court, that there's a way they move away from all those technicalities and then hit at what law ought to be.
All right,
then. Justice.
All right, then. So let me go to Barrister Jimmy Albia now. Now, thank you. Okay, so now, how about if we move the Section 2 to Section 4 to make it justiciable? Do you think that, I beg your pardon, Chapter 2 of the Constitution to Chapter 4 to make it justiciable? Do you think that's something that can be achieved?
Of course, it is something that we need to start looking at, pulling that Chapter 2, making it justiciable. Indeed, we don't need to pull it to Chapter 4. It can still be in Chapter 2. It's simply to amend the clauses that made it non-justiciable, to say that people can now go to court and ask for these things, because Chapter 2 is quite detailed in terms of certain rights of citizens, right to education, right to the economic rights of citizens. And you expect that these are in some other countries, such rights are all already made justiciable in some other countries. But you find that in Nigeria, the rights encoded in Section 2, in Chapter 2 rather, are not justiciable. So these are things that you expect that the lawmakers would look at tinkering with, coming in this time, would look at tinkering with and changing it to make the clauses to make justiciable. If you make it justiciable, Nigeria will go and demand certain some of these rights from their government. But what it is now, as per some decided cases, is that where there are also there are already legislations, where there are legislations, giving power to this Chapter 2, then those sections can be justiciable. For instance, the Freedom of Information Act already gives some right, to citizens to ask certain questions. So where there are laws, statutes already giving rights to people to challenge certain matters within Chapter 2, then citizens can go to court to ask for those reliefs. But I expect that it should go beyond that. There should be a wholesale right for citizens to activate the provisions of Chapter 2.
All right, then. Thank you very much for your take there. I must say a big thank you to you, Barrister Jimmy Abia. I do understand that we had to drag you from some activity that you were doing. Well, now you can get back to your activity. Thank you very much for coming on VOP. And also, big thanks to you, Barrister Joe.
My pleasure being with you.
Well, thank you very much, Barrister Joe. What can
Send me your number.
Okay, so there is some connecting going on my show.
It's my good friend.
All right, then we'll take a breather now. And up next will be the flight into space. Flight into space that crashed barely 59 seconds after it took off. Well, this conversation comes up in a bit. Stay with us.